Tonight I'm Herman Phillip and we are Opinionated. Remember, Opinionated is the only sports show where your opinion matters. And if you're anything like me, you're tired because you've been putting all these hours watching the Female World Cup in Australia and New Zealand and the first World Cup where both hostesses have been knocked out and of course the USA joined them and these late hours are killing me. But we made it in tonight and with us a very special guest. With tonight in the house we have a gentleman I've known for quite a while. He's done quite a bit of work among the youth. He's famous in those circles and a coach in his own right. Coach Kenvin McPhee. Coach, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good night, St. Lucia. And prepare yourself for a very interesting show.
For those of us who don't know Coach Kenvin, let's talk about you.
Yes.
How did you get involved in coaching?
Okay, so my first introduction came through actually the Grosile Primary School. I assisted, back then we called her Teacher Jean. Teacher Jean was the one who was instrumental in getting the athletes Grosile, taking them to sports and, just taking them to different sports meet and the state of things. So passing by the field every day, having that zeal as an athlete myself, looking at her, I said, you know what happened? Gone are the days when we used to run for Orion Sports Club. That's no more. So I went to go into coaching. So I started going to the school volunteering, asking her, how can I assist? And I think just from there, the interest sparked a love between myself and track and field and the school. And that's where it started, right at the Grosile School, underneath Teacher Jean.
Coach, as an athlete yourself, in your younger days, and you mentioned Orion Sports Club, that
yes.
It's part of the solution history. People may not know about it, but quite a few athletes came out of there.
Definitely.
How did you know what's time to hang up the shoes and move into coaching? Okay. I know they say athletes never want to give up.
Yeah. For me, it was basically an injury. An injury that, I would say a recurrent injury. When you get older, you get an injury, you don't really take care of it. You feel that today, you say, I don't pay no attention to that, I don't go and see a doctor or anything, and then the following day you feel it, and just doing that. I had a serious injury in my groin growing up. I cannot pin it on any sporting activity before that, but that's just a pain I had during running, because underneath Spider, we went out to various sporting meets, Hampton Games in Trinidad, Matney Grenada, we have represented St. Lucia, and sports. And Orion in these games, but there came a point where the leg was not coming up again, the pain was radiating, going to different parts of the leg, and I said, you know what happened? I think that's time. But I did not stop there, I mean, when it passed, I went into rugby. I played rugby for about 4 years. We did World Cup qualifiers in Guyana. We got a whooping, but it was an experience for us. After that, I made an attempt at volleyball at a national level. And after that, I came back to track and field. So at that time, I said, you know what happened? I cannot compete at that level anymore. So I want to give back to community. I want to give back to service. So that's when it birthed into me being a coach and starting to gravitate more to track and field and giving the others, not turning the back on them, but giving them less attention and focusing on track and field.
And of course, still not just benefit from your pain.
Yeah.
So Grosile Athletic Sports Club, that's your baby?
That is my baby. That is definitely. Yes, it is.
Tell us about it.
Okay, so Grosile Athletics Club was formed from the Grosile Primary School in about 2010, 2011. Grosile, for one point, represented District 1 in that spot where the district came together and we competed against the various districts. What was important for me at the time is getting the athletes just to run fast. At that time, we don't focus on form or these things, getting them to run fast. I said, you know what happened? We're going to continue with this thing because it's working. We're going to continue. We're going to go ahead with it. We had some challenges. But the club in itself was sort of like a breeding ground for athletes to move on to different levels and stuff. So we went into an after-school program where the athletes, after lessons, would come in and we would do various drills with them. And that's when we got exposed to people like Michael, Brittany Mangal, Shanaz Paul, Samani Herman, Sandrina Popo, Omega, Just to name just a few who have come from that program. And every time I speak about them, I laugh because those athletes were the core athletes who brought the club to where it is today. Very, very happy about that.
So since we're talking about, your legacy, the names that you put out there, and it's quite an established list. Let's talk about a young Michael. What young Michael Joseph? What attracted you to a young Michael Joseph? What did you see that told you that this young had potential as an athlete?
Okay, so he started with his uncle, Lindsay Joseph, former national athlete, one of the best 100-meter and 200-meter runners at the time, together with people like Promise and Maxim Shalmine in those era there.
Did Lindsay pay you to say that?
No, he did not. He did not. Being a part of Orion, like I said, I've been around for a long time in athletics, so I know these athletes. People like Beryl, Fox, Shobia, these persons, Eddie, Pamenas from St. Vincent, all those persons. I watched those persons as a little boy running and competing. But Andre also, Lindsay's brother, was a 400-meter, I think 400 and 800-meter athlete at the time.
He was actually Michael's father.
Yes. And Michael used to be on the field with Lindsay, with Andre. But believe it or not, Michael did not start in track. He started in football. Football, because he had that little speed already. So when he picked the Grizzly Primary School team, the fastest person at the front to score goals. So,
the good old days.
Yes. So Michael was placed in forward. He did well, but the speed was naturally there at the time. So I spoke to Lindsay. And I said that, you know what happened? Can I do some work with Michael? Can he join the club? It was a done deal. His father bought into it. Lindsay bought into it. And we started doing that training with him. That little conditioning and just watching him. The football coach was not pleased. He made another attempt to take Michael back because he was that good at football. The speed at the time, some people used to maybe, when you used to bleach, you in the other person part of the field, but Michael used to be on the half line. Give him a football, he would get there fast and score. So it was a back and forth with the football coach. But then, we saw his father and Lindsay, we saw the potential. We saw what we needed to better in him. And I said, you know what happened? We're going to take him in. At that time, we had no club registered. We were running with the school. I just had a core of athletes training and running. So I stuck to that. I got Michael and the names I mentioned earlier on. We got those athletes together and we just started training, running for the school till District 1 started winning. And that's where we continued seeing his progress with the other athletes. And then we started from there.
So you, from primary school, you took him into secondary school?
From primary school, yes.
So here's a question for you before we jump into that question. Sorry about that. How did you decide what he was going to run?
Okay. At that time, like I said, we know he was fast. And if you do track and field, every athlete thinks there is a sprinter in them and they want to show you that they're a sprinter. So they want to run fast for you. That's it. You mark that there. No athlete want to run anything longer than 400 meters. Back in the day, they would tell you 400 meters is considered a long distance. That's what they would say. So for me, it was easy because I saw that speed already. So I said, you know what happened? We are going to try him in the sprints. But for his age, it was not 100 at the time. It was 60 and 80 meters. And he did well. He did exceedingly well at that. And at the age of 9, CUT games, Teachers Union Games, he represented St. Lucia. He was selected from the Grizzly Primary School, represented St. Lucia. He went there and he did well. So for me, how I knew he would have selected these races or selected for him is because of his speed and his interest in the sprints.
So he started as a sprinter.
He started as a sprinter.
So he's the reverse of Usain Bolt.
Yes.
Who
yes,
started as
directly.
a forward, became a sprinter.
Yes.
And he started as a sprinter.
Yes.
So what prompted the switch from the 60 and the 80? I guess he's getting older to what you would call a long distance rather than the 400 meters.
Okay, well, believe it or not, he continued the 60 and 80, but at the ministry level, the ministry set the age group for the sports. So at a certain age, you run a certain distance. So when you get to, I think, 11 to 12, 13 to 14, it's no more 60 or 80 for you, it's 100 meters. So that just placed him in the 100 meters automatically and the 200 meters. But his 400-meter program did not start in St. Lucia. He did run a couple of fours for Corinth, the 4x4 relays and the 4x1s, but competitive 400 meters, it started off in Jamaica.
And why do you think they transitioned him from sprinting to something more pace racer?
In Jamaica, Jamaica has a basket of resources. Talent identification is one of the things they are good at. One thing I noticed about Michael, his stride length is very consistent and long. And that's one of the things you look for in your longer distance races. So that was very good for him. And he was running, he was always relaxed. He was relaxed. So you're looking at a relaxed person running 100 meters, it doesn't really fit properly. I mean, he did well in it. The 200 meters, the same thing. But the 400 meters was his niche, actually. But his talent, harnessing the talent and making him realize his true potential, that was done in Jamaica for the 400 meters. He left St. Lucia as the 100 and 200 meter champion and from free. He left St. Lucia here. But when he went there, the coaches made that transition to the 400 meters and changed his program.
So when you looked at him, and of course being familiar with the histories, of course Spider himself, mm-hmm. 400 meter jump, Twatine,
yeah.
And of course Maxim, you mentioned Maxim earlier. Yeah. You didn't see that in him at that point in time?
No. Honestly, no. It's just the sprints. Just the sprints. And he loves to anchor. He loves to anchor. He will tell you, just give me the baton and I will get it done for you. So he loves the anchor. He loves the catch-up aspect of the race. If he's in front, it's goodbye. You're not going to get him. But if he's at the back of you, he loves running you down. So he used to love anchoring, and we just kept him doing the 1 and the 2 until he got to
So
Jamaica.
Did you find that he got enough development / competition up until the age of 13 in St. Lucia?
In St. Lucia?
Yes.
At that time, yes. But like I said, for the age, I believe so. Moving away from the 13 to 14 and above that, no.
And what were we lacking as a country that invested in sports?
Okay, first, more meets for them to compete in. Our calendar, school calendar, starts January and it ends with school champs in March. And that was it. If you don't belong to a club back then, that's it for your athletic year. If you belong to a club, then it takes you to the national level where you go until July. You run a couple of league meets, independent games, Carifta trials, national juniors, and these things that would take you up until July. So the advantage of being in a club versus just running for a school, it had its advantages for athletes who were in a club, but you not in a club, it was a disadvantage to you.
And that necessitated his move to Jamaica. How did that come about?
Interestingly, I got a phone call from Marshall Shallery, the Rockets coach. Good night, Mr. Shallery. He said that he noticed Michael is doing exceedingly well and he has that contact in Jamaica where they're doing some scouting and recruiting. So he would like to meet with me to explore if that's something we're interested in. And I didn't hesitate. I did not hesitate. So we met at Rituals, the coach was here actually, we spoke to the coach and we did the connection, but he was very clear. I'm just creating the link between you all and I'm backing off. The rest is for you to do. So we had that meeting, we brought in his parents, we brought in somebody from the ministry and the process started from there. So we needed a lot of information because things like school transcript and these things, his grades, what form he will be joining when he goes to Kingston College in Jamaica. So we needed a lot of information beforehand. It was a cultural shock for him getting into Jamaica because the first 3 months, myself and his dad got a lot of phone calls about he wanting to come back home.
All right, hang on to that thought. When we come back, chapter 2 in the Michael Joseph Experience with Coach Kenvin. Opinionated Wednesday night. We'll be right back after these messages.
Heart goes down, we fall in love, and we fall back out. I'll give you anything you want, anything you want, anything, just don't tell me no. You stop it still, then you make it rush. but I keep on going. Tell me to stop, but I keep on going. Tell me to stop, but I keep on going. Keep on, keep on, keep on. You'll never stop this thing. I will never let you go. Well, who am I to say? Maybe by now you should know. You got your somebody calling. You think you're somebody, don't you? I think you're scared of keeping somebody close. You'll never stop this thing. I will never let you go.
Welcome to Winner Sports Beat.
For the most comprehensive sports news broadcast, tune in to Winner's Sports Beat, weeknights at 7:30 p.m. Sports Beat features the latest scores, news highlights, and interviews that keeps sports fans informed on what's happening in sports. Winner's Sports Beat captures the pulse of the sports world. Watch Sports Beat for exclusive inside information and breaking news on what's really happening behind the scenes. Sports Beat covers the big games, the big plays, and the big wins. Watch Winner's Sports Beat weeknights at 7:30 p.m. with daily repeats.
Winners TV is proud to bring to you Strictly Football. 1 hour of exciting football action from around the globe, taking all the highlights from St. Lucia, the English Premier League, La Liga in Spain, Ligue 1 in France, the Bundesliga in Germany, and even the Jamaica Premier League. Follow your favorite teams. You don't ever have to miss a goal. Just tune in to Winners TV at 8:30 p.m. every Monday for all the weekend action and Thursdays for the week's updates. Winners TV brings all the action to you. It's Strictly Football, the action-packed highlight show, keeping you abreast with what's happening in the world of football.
We're back Wednesday night, Opinionated, in-house to Coach Kenvin. So, Coach, let's talk about the Jamaica experience.
Yes.
Every 14-year-old boy's nightmare.
Yeah, so, you know, when we made the connect with the advisors or the persons represented Kingston College there, like I said, there are a number of things we had to get in place. You know, you had to get permission from the ministry because that's an athlete who's still enrolled in the ministry. You had to get permission from Corinth at the time, the principal. You had to get certain releases and certain things from the Athletics Association also. And transcript, bio, we had to send in a bio. His best times and those sort of things had to go ahead. The principal, Mr. Dave Myrie of Kingston College, was the one writing to us directly. Because this sort of times, especially the time he did in the one, his year before going up, it was a 21-something at Bon Stage on the track. And I think that was the selling factor for him going over to Jamaica at that age, the age he did it. So when we finally got everything in place, his dad made the call to the principal and said that, by when can we expect him to be up there? That was challenging for him, moving across there, because leaving your entire family at the age of 16 and going to Jamaica, it's a cultural shock. Like I said, for the first 3 months thereabout, I get a number of phone calls. One of the calls I got from Michael is that, Coach, the fellas picking on me and stuff, and so, you know, we had to basically talk him into getting the support from your faculty members, the house mothers, or they have those things in Jamaica in place for him, and speak to the principal. Then the next week, probably another phone call while in class, fellas throwing pieces of paper behind his head and something like that. He made some attempts to try and convince us he wanted to come back to St. Lucia. But hats off to his dad, who, you know, just spoke to him every night, night in, night out, supporting him and telling him, you know what happened? It's worth it. As long as you're not being abused, it's worth it. Look at it as they've intimidated by you. So, you know, that's something you should expect. So getting into training introducing him now to the 400-meter program because that's where it started. Quickly, it turned from teasing him to being his friend because the potential was there already. I think his first race for Kingston College, he ran 51. And that was a good time at his age. So the coaches were really impressed. And, they started bulking him, giving him that vigorous Jamaican training. And then the time started getting better. And everybody who knows champs know the best times are what gets you to the finals. Not the 4th and 5th place. The best time gets you to the finals. So the coaches developed his program to the point where they saw, what happened? They have to increase intensity, increase his program because he's developing fast. There are certain days Michael will call me and tell me, Coach, I think there are certain things the coaches don't want to show me, because I grabbing it already. Typical example, he start out of the blocks. When he left, it was not the best. I mean, we do not have synthetic track in Grozile. To get Michael to train on synthetic track, we had to go all the way to George Orlom Stadium. So when he got there with the school having their own track in the compound, that was a plus for him. So his start got much better reaction time out of the starting block. One of the things they totally changed about what he left there with and what he got from them was the start. And the introduction to the weightlifting, the nutrition, the physiotherapy, and those sort of things which we lack here, he got it up there. So he accepted all these things, and as he transitioned over the years, the program just grew around him until he became one of the best 400-meter runners in the school.
So when you look at his times, elite times, I hate it with elite, but definitely top times
yes.
in Jamaica for his age group?
Yes, for his age group, definitely. I think he left Jamaica with a 48. He left Jamaica with a 48.
So a 3-second improvement?
Definitely, because at the time, to get a 48, my brother, it's not something that's easily attainable. You're looking at persons in class 1. That's times normally persons in class 1 would run. So he left there with a 48. And I was very impressed with that. But then we had, I think it was chikungunya at that time, and it hit him bad. And he contacted me. I'm sure he contacted his dad also and said, he feel like he's going to pass out because it was that bad on him. Again, so then, we put aside our coach's mantle and we took up the parents and guardian stuff and try and just encourage him. They have medical professionals over there going to see you. The following week he had a meet, and he was one of the main persons in the 400 meters. And he ran a 52. And that devastated him. That devastated him. He was like, sir, 52? I'm like, yeah, but you think your body is not functioning at 100%. So that is expected. He thought he would have never gotten back to the 40s. He never. It was a hard transition for him to accept. But one that he noticed, if he put in the work and he remained disciplined, he would have done it. And he did do it.
So when you look at the Jamaica experience, and of course we had Julian Alfred there, and we had him as well. Mm-hmm. We noticed the transition, and when you weigh the pros and cons, yes, they became better athletes, but the social change, having to deal with the picking, the teasing, and the discomfort, is it worth it?
Is it worth it? That's a good question. No. I'll answer that in two fronts. No and yes. Jamaica provides an avenue for athletes. Easy scholarship opportunities. Scouts come to Jamaica during their champs and use that as a recruiting ground for their schools. But I don't believe anybody living the island should go anywhere and being ridiculed and taken for granted. So yes, in a sense that he's going to get the exposure, the much needed equipment, training, facility exposure that we do not have in St. Lucia. But on the part of being belittled and these things, not on that level.
In terms of regional meets, because at that time, remember when he left St. Lucia, he was exposed to a level of regional meets.
Yes.
When he's at Jamaica, is he still competing regionally?
At the time he went to Jamaica, I believe there was a push from his school to get him to pen relays. At that time, he fell ill again. He fell ill, so he was not able to be part of the team. And I think that would have been the opportunity he got while he was at Kingston College, but he was not fit.
And
He was not fit at the time.
And of course, you as his coach, did he ever return home to compete in any of our local meets so that we can take a look at the work in progress?
He did. Within his first year, he came down, still wearing our club colors, which I am proud of.
Which are, by the way, this?
Green and black. Green and black. He ran 400 meters at Viewfort. And that race he ran had 3 other athletes running a personal best time. Yeah, so it was a low 48 at that time. He won, obviously, but it was good improvement, good exposure for him and the athletes who run and compete with him.
When we look at, of course, so he transits, he comes back home, he competes. We only have the George Odlum, which is because we're not going to put our prize asset on grass. Were you concerned?
Yes. My biggest concern for him, being on a scholarship and getting injured in St. Lucia. That was my biggest concern, because I believe they have contractual agreement with the schools that certain things should not be done. And normally when they come to St. Lucia to their coaches, they come with a contract and they come with their training program also. The training program, in my capacity, I do not change it. What I do is just adhere to what's been given to him and allow him to follow it. But if I see something need correcting, I'm going to correct it. But I do not change or alter the program because he belongs to the school for that period. So I do not alter the program. But in terms of running from the track and then going to the Groseley playing field where you have the cricketers using the field, you have the footballers using the field. I think Groseley Athletics Club is the only organization that gets about 2% of the field to use in the afternoon. Still a day like today. We just get, where the stands are, that little area, that's where we normally occupy. For Michael to get a good run around the field, it'd have to be on a weekend.
So with those issues / difficulties, how were you able to achieve your mandate? I mean, to get him to coming from the standard that he's used to, coming to work in the Groseley field, and no knock to the Groseley field, but it is not what he's used to or what he's accustomed to.
Yeah.
How were you able to achieve?
A lot of it was done on his own. As much as I'm there to provide the support for him, Michael will not wait for me to come to the field and train. Michael will message me, "Coach, we training today?" Yes. By the time I get to the field, Michael do his drills and go through his phases already, and he's ready for the program. So a lot of it was mental for him, the preparation of coming to the field. If he's not on the field, he's running on the road. If he's not on the road, he's maybe bouncing you around the stadium doing laps or something like that. So for me, he did a lot of it on his own, preparing himself mentally, and he's very goal-driven. He puts his mind to it, and he goes for it. He goes for it. So that in itself had a lot to do with his success, but the support and what we gave him, the sustainable support we gave him, was the rest that we could have collided with and given to him so that we just have him played safe while he was down here.
So the stint in Jamaica comes to an end. What's the next step?
When Jamaica came to an end, okay, so 2 years in Jamaica. His last year in Jamaica, he anchored the 4x4 team, Kingston College. He got the battle in 3rd place. And if you're in Jamaica for champs, you're in for basically a party. So he got that battle in 3rd place, came around on top of the, let's say, 150 mark. He made his move and ran down the Jamaica College guy. I was thinking, okay, I'm not too sure of the time, but I knew it was fast. And then that was the record. They broke the school record. So fast forward, his father is very resourceful. His father, he does his own research and these things. He doesn't wait for people to do the research for him. His father did some research, and the father get in contact with somebody in the States. And the person in the States who has that connection with Kansas said, you know what happened? Based on what Michael is doing, they have been following Michael, his progress, his times and his stuff. They can't get him over to the States. That did not go too well with Kingston College principal because they have the set programs and the universities where they send the athletes to. Prominent universities. But there was something different for him. His father supported it. The principal at Kingston College got to a point where he sent us a bio page of the Kansas school, the accolades, what they did in the 400 meters. Yes. So you watching that and he telling us, I mean, it's an easy decision for you all to make. I'm sending you all these schools, watch the Jamaican coaches at the school, watch the times, watch the programs versus what you all send me for me. I mean, he's saying it's much better. But you know, as fate would have it, his father got the approval and they made that transition. What the name sign on the dotted line.
And Kansas, here we come.
And Kansas, here we come.
All right, so let's hang on to that thought. We'll be right back after these messages. Don't go anyway.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my baby run. I'm all in, take it high. Oh, what's the word on the scene? We've been kicking up the dust, if you know what I mean. We got a good thing going. We got a good thing going on.
Having trouble with temperature in your home or establishment? Feeling uncomfortable and need some relief? Optimum Cooling would love to help. You deserve a contractor that is experienced, skilled, and affordable. Call Optimum Cooling today. We offer a wide range of all your HVAC needs. That includes maintenance, repairs, supply, installation, consultation, as well as any other refrigeration services, both domestic and commercial. At Optimum Cooling, we would love to meet with you to determine how we can help. Follow Optimum Cooling on Facebook or Instagram, or visit our website today. We look forward to hearing from you.
For the best cricket updates, analysis, and an in-depth look at the sport around the world, tune in live to Winners TV every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. for Cricket Nation, the only show dedicated to cricket in St. Lucia. From the nations to the clubs, the leagues, and the players, Cricket Nation is your window to the world of cricket. So be a part of the nation every Tuesday, live from 8:30 p.m. on Winners TV.
It's Wednesday night, Opinionated. Coach Kenvin in the house. And of course, we're on the chapter 3, the Kansas experience.
Kansas experience.
So we get to Kansas. The school doesn't like the fact that we're going, Kingston College.
Yeah.
However,
that's where we're going.
Daddy makes the call.
Yeah.
And we're in Kansas.
Yeah.
How does Kansas unfold?
Okay, so his first week, not his first week, the first competition here, he missed it because of the time he went up. He went up more like the winter time. So it was basically outdoors. Coach told us that he will not be able to compete because outdoors is indoors is new. Indoor track, the adjustment to an indoor track is very difficult and it's different when you have not experienced it or running. So it gave him some more time to prepare. So his preparation was geared to outdoor. His first competition, he was in the area of still 48, 49 in the 400 meters. But his coach, Mr. Redwine from Kansas, said, you know what happened? He sees the potential in Michael. He made that determination early. He sees the potential. And he said, Michael is going to be one of the best athletes to walk the halls of Kansas.
Now, just before you move in any further, what about Kansas? Because when we looked at the bios, and you, of course, as a coach, you'd see the bios.
Yeah.
What about Kansas won you all over when the other schools had offered better bios?
For me, the times that were the best times at Kansas was a selling point for me. It didn't have to take much for him to break all his records. That was it for me. That was it for me. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. You know, I have a saying that I normally write at the end of my papers and stuff. Your medals and trophies collect dust, but your times cannot be replaced. Your medals and trophies, you put them there, they will collect dust. But the time you run, nothing can replace that. Nothing can take that away from you.
So Redwine comes in, coach.
Yes.
And I guess he's never had an athlete like that.
No.
And and kudos to our farm system because we have two athletes that got up that the coaches have never seen before.
Yes.
And he just sees him and sees the potential.
Yeah.
What happens next?
He intensified his training program because he said Michael always gives him his own goals. One of them was to break all St. Lucian records in the 400 meters, the junior and the senior. So within that year, his first project for Michael was to get him ready to break the junior 400 meter record. And his program did that, and that was achieved in Cali, Colombia, where he broke the record. Michael was not satisfied. He wanted to break the indoor 400 meter record also.
At Kansas.
At Kansas. So again, he speaks to his coach. And the coach is one that, Michael, what's that? That's how the conversation goes. What's the time in St. Lucia for the 400 meters? Michael will tell him, okay, 45, 49. Okay, we're going to break this in the next month. And just put a program tailored to getting in there. Whether it be you have to do gym, whether it be speed endurance, whether it be weight lifting, whether it be nutrition, change these things, and everything he did has worked according to plan for him. Every single thing has worked.
Talk about the senior record.
The senior record have been there for a long time. That was held by Ivan Jamari. I think that was in 1966 or something like that. That record has been there. His first attempt at that record after Cali, because we had gotten the junior record already, was when he came down to St. Lucia actually. That was his first attempt at the record. Got close, but shy of it. So the following year he said he's focused and he's going after that record. And he just did not go after the record. He shattered the record. So this year, we saw him running back-to-back 44.77 and the following day 44.78. So the record stands now at 44.77. Now, I don't think St. Lucia and a lot of people understand what it takes to run 44 or when last athlete has gone into that bracket. To run 44, if you divide it by 4, you would get 11 point something. So that means that every 100 meter would have been consistent at a certain speed. You get to a certain point and you execute all phases of that 400 meters at that time. But he did it twice, back to back. Wow.
Indeed, impressive. So when you talk about Michael, of course, conquering the national record, how was that mapping out parallel to his Kansas achievements?
Awesome. Because what it did now, it really showed him that there is no record at Kansas he cannot take out. So, like for instance, to date, 200 meter indoor-outdoor record, Michael. 400 meter indoor-outdoor, Michael. 600 meter indoor, Michael. 400 meters, Michael. So far we are on par with what we wanted to establish in terms of going after the records. That's what it is for us, getting the records, because when you get the record, you get the recognition that comes with it. You get the accolades that come with it. I don't know anybody running below par, not executing the records and getting that recognition. So it was about getting the records, and we know the records were stiff, but to acquire them in the space that he did and in quick succession.
You mentioned the 2 and the 6.
Yeah.
So, Michael, so let's talk about that foray into, because we know him as a 400 meter specialist and outdoor. And of course, indoor had a measure of getting used to, but then you also mentioned the 2 and the 6. What brought about that foray?
Okay, so the 2 and the 6. Normally 400 meter athletes, when you train them a lot for speed endurance. You make them run more than the actual distance they run. There are a lot of dynamics to it, but basically you give them a lot to run, because at certain point in these races you get something called lactic acid, and your body has to get accustomed of feeling that and handling it. It's not something that's going to go away by you running just one race. It has to come with you putting in that work, getting your body accustomed of going through the spaces and the phases. He would still experience it, but the body would be better able to control it. It would still come on him, but he would be in a better position to control it and run with it not affecting him. The 200 meter was just an experimental thing from the coach. Normally 400 meter athletes are good 200 meter athletes because the 400 meter strength, the endurance, if you put that into a 200 meter, you're going to get an athlete running very well for you. So it was an experiment done by Coach Redwine in Kansas where Michael asked for it. So he said that, okay, we're going to try it, put him in it. Now, he ran it without doing a 200 meter program. He ran the 200 meter and then a 400 meter program. There's not much of a difference, but when you look at them as two separate, there are certain things that are different in terms of the preparation for this thing. 400 meter speed endurance, 200 meter more speed, some endurance, but you have more speed in it because there are different phases over 200 meters, just like the 400 meter. So at the end of his experiment, 200 meters, he won it. He won it. So the coach said, you know what happened, but wait, that was not the intention, and just to see you, but you look good at it. And he told the coach that he's very comfortable and he would like to start competing and doing more training in the 200 meters. Competitively, Michael has done 2 major 200 meters competitively. That's at the NCAA level. But out of the 400 meter program, no. He has not been in that 200 meter program long enough so that the coach can actually register him just like the 400 meters. But it's moving in that direction very aggressively. So we will be seeing him competing both in the 4 and the 2 in the not too distant future.
6.
The 600 meters, like I said, Michael just wanted to go after that record. During his training, his speed endurance, he used to tell me, Coach, the 600 meters is 1 minute and something. I think I can go after that. He went after it. The first time, he missed it by what? About 0.2 of a second or something like that. But Michael is Michael. Michael is very determined, very determined. 600 meters, you know we don't run 600 meters here. We only do it at inter-schools, 2 laps.
Primary school.
Yeah. But to run 600 meters competitively, you would have to be doing it at sports level at the schools there. So he just wanted to go after that record, just for his name to be there, just to move it. Michael Joseph 600 meter record. That's what he wanted, and he did it.
Do you see a strain on him competing in both the indoor and the outdoor season at that level?
Yes. Okay. Our typical season in St. Lucia, we started our season in December. We're going until June. For the US, it is indoor season and outdoor season. So they start with the indoor season during the snow period where you cannot run. They go directly into the outdoor season. Last year, Michael had no rest. The year of Cali, he had no rest. And he will tell you he's very tired. But I understand what the coaches are aiming for. They are aiming for the athlete they have at their schools to pick at the right time. And these athletes have to pick twice for the coaches during the outdoor and during the indoor season. So the programs are tailored to get them there twice for that season. But that's not get towards St. Lucia. When we get them, we want them to pick for that period nationals, or if we select them to go out. So his body was very, 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 very heavy at certain points. He would tell you that, Coach, I ran in that day and then my leg's not coming up, I'm not feeling it. That's the constant season, not giving him a break to get that rest, get 2 months or 3 months rest between these things. So yes, it has taken a toll on his body, just like many of our athletes, but he's coping with it. He's coping with it.
He's Coach Kenvin. We're Opinionated. We'll be back for the 4th quarter.
Forward. every step. Faster. Every day. Every hurdle. Closer to our dreams. Where becoming extraordinary is an everyday business. Commitment. Determination. Sacrifice. Drive. To run faster. Throw further. Jump longer. This is how superheroes are made, who amaze the world all over again and again. Welcome to where dreams unfold and records are broken. This August, welcome to stunning Budapest, where you can watch the superheroes live and be sure it will be majestic, limitless. Get ready to witness the wonder.
Winners TV is proud to bring to you Strictly Football. 1 hour of exciting football action from around the globe. Take in all the highlights from St. Lucia, the English Premier League, La Liga in Spain, Ligue 1 in France, the Bundesliga in Germany, and even the Jamaica Premier League. Follow your favorite teams. You don't ever have to miss a goal. Just tune in to Winners TV at 8:30 p.m. every Monday for all the weekend action and Thursdays for the week's updates. Winners TV brings all the action to you. It's Strictly Football, the action-packed highlight show keeping you abreast with what's happening in the world of football.
Welcome to Winners Sports Beat.
For the most comprehensive sports news broadcast, tune in to Winners Sports Beat, weeknights at 7:30 p.m. Sports Beat features the latest scores, news highlights, and interviews that keeps sports fans informed on what's happening in sports. Winners Sports Beat captures the pulse of the sports world. Watch Sports Beat for exclusive inside information and breaking news on what's really happening behind the scenes. Sports Beat covers the big games, the big plays, and the big wins. Watch Winners Sports Beat weeknights at 7:30 p.m. with daily repeats.
Fantasztikus lehetőséget kaptunk az atlétikai világbajnokságtól.
Ez ki lesz használva?
Ki fogom menni megnézni. Ott leszek a budapesti világbajnokságon.
We're back with Coach McPhee. McPhee, actually. I don't know why I got the V for. You see, it's Kenvin McPhee. You know, that's not my fault. That's Ali's fault. You know, so, Coach, right now, we're getting ready for what to us. And, of course, you know, we appreciate all the struggle that, you know, young Michael is going through. We see the struggle. We know he's tired. But, of course, you just said their season doesn't run with what we as a country want. And what we want, what's best for him, and we will stand behind him. Mm-hmm. We're a little selfish when it comes to, you know, things there.
Yeah.
At Kansas right now, where is he in terms of all the records he wants to throw down?
I think he wants to reset the 600. He wants to reset the 600 meters. So that's one on his radar. He will lower the 200 meter record. He will lower that. Under 400 meter record. That is part of his plan going into the year of qualifications for him for his outdoor sports, and that's one of the things I know for sure he'll go after. The 600 meter to lower the 2, which he has, he's the record holder, to lower the 2 under 4.
So we see shades of Michael Johnson in them. The fact that he's going to specialize in the 400 too in the outdoor season.
Tough hill to climb, but I mean, it can be achieved.
No, well, men's, with exception of probably Noah Lyles, you know, is a bit open, you know.
Yes.
So I think now is probably the time for him to aim high.
Yeah.
With that said, Champs is coming up, August 19th to 27th, you know. Winners TV will be carrying it.
Yeah.
What are we looking forward? In terms of time, in terms of preparation?
Okay, so he's currently in the States, last minute preparation. For me, my expectation of him first to have a good experience, not to focus so much on what it is, to have an experience, to enjoy track and field, just not focus on, you know, the running aspect of it, to enjoy Budapest, to see the sights, the sounds, to take in some of the culture, and then to have a good race. The preparation, we know we have to get him on nutrition, getting him familiar with the track, getting him familiar with the environment. First time outing for him at that level. So my expectation, obviously, is for him to get through the first round of qualifiers, and then get into the semifinals. But the first round, get into the first round and qualifiers. That's the first thing there, because they have some lucrative monies attached to being in the first 8 there, and it can only be beneficial for him.
So yeah, especially with the NIL, the fact that he can now actually access his money.
Yeah.
So let's talk about his qualifying time. What was the qualifying time to make it to?
His qualifying time was what, 45-1. 45-1. I think it's 45-12 or 14 thereabout. That was the qualifying time, because 44.77 and 44.78 was done, but outside of the qualification period for the Olympics. For World Games, it's trick. It's 45 flat. It's 45 flat. So as much as the 44, 47 and these things he would have run, but it would not count towards his qualifying for World Games. So the 45 one was what got him what he did in San Salvador. That was the ticket sealer.
And was it a comfortable race?
Very comfortable. Too comfortable for him, because after the race, Michael will always tell you he keep on running out of track after the race. And that was one of the things he said to me as soon as he got his phone and he messaged me. He could have done much better, because he noticed the legs are coming up, he's feeling good. He noticed Richards is in front of him, so he's not trying to run him down, but he could have finished that race much faster.
Let's take a look at a race that we had there, and I need your expertise in breaking down that race there.
Okay, so for him, it's a good lane to draw out from. Lane number 6, you know. It's a very good lane. We were happy about that. So he starts his race like he normally do. Get out and get comfortable around the corner. And if you notice, that was achieved there. So there is closing the stagger a bit. Is Jerem behind him, but he maintains his composure. No, I knew of Jerem's potential. So I spoke to him before that. I said to him, you know what happened? He's going to come up on your shoulder. You're going to feel him, because he's a world-class athlete. Don't panic. Just continue, maintain your strides, and when you get to the home stretch, go for it. And what you see in there is what he did to a T. One of his best races he has run against a world-class athlete. If you notice, Jeremy is fighting off. The gap is opening slightly, but then it is not going further than a certain point. And then when he crossed the line, and if you notice him calm and cool, still walking, that's when he will tell you, but coach, I could have gone.
So was the aim in that race just to qualify?
At that race?
Yeah.
No, the aim was to win. And he thought he could have won it. If you speak to him, he'll tell you, that's a race he could have won. Because what would work better for him, if you see in the person who's most competitive to you, on what side of your lane those persons are, so you can take your cue off of them and know how to pace your race. For him, Jeremy was behind him. So good form just going through there, but Michael just casually goes down. That's a casual run by Michael. That's a casual run. Not exerting too much energy, and also by Jerem crossing the finishing line is all these prowess and openings and showboating, you know.
And of course, you look at the times.
Yeah.
So
that actually was the qualifying time.
So
44.
When we use that now as his new benchmark.
Yeah.
What do you look in terms of his preparation? Is he going to intensify? Is he going to? How would you basically assess what's the next step moving forward to prepare him for?
Okay, so
Budapest?
in terms of his preparation moving forward, he actually ran last week. He ran last week against an elite field, Andre DeGrasse and those persons in the 200 meters. I think he had one of the best stats in that race, but the win was against him. Not the time we were hoping for, but that race was not geared at him winning or anything. Just speed, preparation, and exposure. Close to major meets like that, you sort of have done all your major preparation. So maybe you're just working on your start or your finishing, but you are not going into no heavy sprinting so close to a major meet, because one thing every athlete is careful now for is injuries close to the season. So you basically will do things that you are comfortable with, you know, basically your stats, acceleration and some endurance run, but full out training, you know, at this time we sort of, the program has been tailored down to what the coach is expecting of him.
What time would be, and again, the idea, like you said, is we're just looking at PB, so what time you think would be something that you could look forward to or build towards moving?
For Worlds?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. The times I noticed that, okay, to get into the finals, I believe you have to be in the area of 43. You have to be in the 43. Semis, yeah, you can get into the semis with a 44, but it has to be a low 44 or a 43 high. So for me, for the first round, I'm looking at him at a low 44 or a high 43 for the first round of qualification. Yeah.
You mentioned at this point now enjoying the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Are these races that he's putting himself in now for the exposure to be, for just getting familiar with the competition, familiar with the noise level, the lights and the TV, is that what it is? And even if he's already at an elite program like Kansas,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm sure there are little differences between that and a program of that nature.
For any athlete, any major meet, any meet is a different experience for you. It's something that you're not accustomed to. You may be accustomed to running on a track, but the environment itself is different. You have hundreds of thousands of persons viewing you online, and you have thousands of persons in the stadium. It does something to every athlete. It might affect some, it might push some to do better, but Michael is one athlete who will tell you that he's never nervous. He's never nervous. No matter the stage, how big it is, no matter the athlete he comes up against, he's not nervous. He's not nervous, he's not intimidated by any competitors. But yeah, I mean, the big stage would definitely be something new for him. But in terms of what he will achieve there, I think mentally he has placed himself in that place already to get that done.
So you mentioned Michael complaining about running out of track.
Yeah.
And we noticed he said his start time increased.
Mm-hmm.
As you assess him, you know, objectively,
yeah,
what do you think is the strength in his 400 meters? What's the strongest part of his game?
The strongest part of his 400 meters would be his first 300 meters, because he can run consistently at a certain speed. And then, we say relax, but it's not really relaxing, because a 400 meter is a sprint. But technically, to relax over the last 200 meter curve and then come home and refocus. Now, the 200 meters is broken up into phases. The 400 meters, the 200 meters, they are at certain points of those races, they have a certain time you have to get at a certain point. And that makes or break your race. For instance, the 400 meters, by the 200 meter mark, Michael should be at 21.7. So we know anything below 21.7, we know the science already. The science, we know he's not there. So if we know by 21.5 he's there already, we're expecting a very good time at the end of the finishing line.
And with the 200 meters, Because, again, he's feeling his way out in that.
Yeah, so the 200 meters similar, like the one he did last week. Okay, so I compared this time. He sent me his time for the first 100 compared to Andre DeGrasse. Andre DeGrasse first 100 meters was 10:13. Michael was in line with them until coming up the home stretch. And then, so I would put him in that area of 10:3, thereabout. So for his first 100 meters, in a 200 meters, you would want him in the area of 10:3, 10:2, thereabout.
We look at his qualifying times, and before we get to that, he did mention he's tired.
Yeah.
Any plans to give him a rest after champs?
Well, for me, like I said, I take my cue off his coach right now there, who has a third place ranking coming out of the NCAA. So it was on my Texas, Kansas second place, and then Texas on the boys' side. So for me, I would suggest a rest, especially going into next year, because next year is an Olympic year. They have certain meets, I believe we should target, certain Diamond League meets we would want to get into, because most athletes going into the Olympics are going to target these meets also. So it's almost race preparation for Olympics for him. Definitely. So stamp of approval right there. So we want to get him at least with some of those athletes who have registered for some of those meets, but it's still also his last year at school. So, it's something we have to play with, and we have a lot of partners who we have to work with and partner with to get that done.
So, and again, you mentioned, the Diamond League, and of course, we mentioned the NIL. So right now, we're no longer in the era where you can only run amateur.
Yeah.
You now can compete at both levels.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that as beneficial to his development, or is it too much pressure for him?
In terms of getting to the next level?
Yeah.
Okay. In more ways than one, I would say beneficial. Because going into that higher level, you have a certain class of athletes who enters there. What they bring is faster times. And Michael would be challenged. He would challenge himself. His times, if you're not in that category, hey, wake up and pick up myself, because one of those races, you could be running against Wade. You could be running against Kirani James. You could be running against no one else in the 200 meters. So definitely, it has its benefits. I think, personally for him, yes, yeah, we can get him more focus, more exposure at these games, but the elite aspect of it, the international aspect of it, I see him doing better there, remaining in that category instead of receding or coming back down.
The 400, and of course, we talk about his just seems to naturally gravitate to that. It's not a race that the Caribbean, with the exception of course, the Cayman Islands, seems to dominate. Of course, we had Kirani in Grenada, but it's not a race that we seem to have had locked.
No.
You now have a pipeline of, I'm sure in your stable you have a pipeline of young ones coming through.
Definitely. Definitely.
So have you found the secret to the 400, and who's up next?
Okay. I think every coach, every school, every faculty have a different approach to what they deem is the best approach for any event, 400, 200. For me, I've discovered and found out some things to get my athletes to the next level. A lot of it is literature-based and evidence-based. So, yes. Who's next for me? Man, I have a young lady I would like to mention. Well, two of them actually, Sandrina Popo and Destiny Snack. Destiny attends the St. Joseph Convent, and she was one of the persons who led Convent to snatching the female champ from Vieux-Fort. So Destiny is the next. I mean, all my athletes are athletes in the pipeline to get something.
Coach, before you move any further, Convent said it was never in doubt. I just want to bring that point.
Yes, okay, good. Yeah, so definitely. But Destiny looks to be built as a 400-meter runner. Michael actually did some work with her while down here, and that's one of the things that I'm hoping continues when he comes back here, because he would have that professional experience of training underneath professional coaches, so he can pass on that knowledge and assist. But Destiny for the 400, 200 meters, and Sandrina Popo in the 1 and the 200 meters are the next athletes that you should see.
And both of these races are what Michael does well.
Yes, yes. So it just works, it augurs well for everybody.
Coach, right now we're on the verge of having two world acclaimed international athletes,
Yes.
right? And Michael is literally on his way there, if not there already.
He's there already.
As a country, how, we tend to be bandwagon jumpers, and I'm saying that that's what we see. We see we coming back. How can we preempt that curve? How can we start nurturing them before they get there, so we know Michael when he's coming out of primary school? Okay. Why do we need to wait till Michael has become an international star that we can celebrate Michael and, of course, Julian?
I think we need to rethink the way we do things. We have to undergo a major cultural shift if we have to see more Michaels and more Julian. It cannot be, I go to inter-secondary school sports and I spot that athlete there. That athlete is running fast. I'm going to take that athlete. No, it has to start grassroots, the after-school program. It has to start in the classroom, in the homes. It has to start there. The investment. Track is not cheap. Everything in track comes at a price. So you must want to do it out of love. You want him to give back to society. You want to say that you contributed to somebody who has done well, who has gotten to that stage. You have to do it out of love. You have to get corporate St. Lucia to buy into the product that you are selling. And the product is that we have two athletes in St. Lucia who are doing exceedingly well, who are a threat to everybody who they line up with on that track. How can we facilitate the others? How can we get them to where we want them to be? How can we be consistent in supporting them? Grassroots, my brother, grassroots, the little after-school program, the little join the athletics club. I believe that all schools should be linked to an athletics club. All schools. I believe that the coaches in the primary schools and in the secondary schools should become level 1 coaches. Those are the sort of things that we have to start doing. Because it cannot be, okay, inter-primary school is going to start just now, we're going into that term already, and then 2 weeks before inter-primary school, right, you have a bunch of children in the field trying to see who can run fast, and that's the fastest person, and then we have the notion, okay, the fastest person, you put them on the ankle leg and these kind of things. We have to stop thinking like that. We have to start thinking holistic. And we cannot operate in a silo. We have to move away from that culture. We have to say, you know what happened? We have to make a vested investment in the athletes in the sport, not come for self-praise or what it's giving you, but you come with an open heart, a genuine heart. I'm going to invest in that. I'm going to devote my time, my money, my energy, and let's get it done.
Coach, any last words?
Yes. So, Michael is watching. We just want the support. We want the support for him, for Julian also, because they carrying our flag there on the international stage. So we want to really rally behind them. We want viewers to turn out, log into Winners TV. We'll be carrying it exclusive. Thank you, Winners TV, for doing that. We want the support. And while, every one of us cannot go to Budapest and watch the games, the little sharing of the link, the little, sending some little encouragement messages and these kind of things to him would really be beneficial to actually both of them, getting them mentally prepared. They're there already. So right now, we have done the hard work, so let's go and execute. So the support, corporate support, private, public, a little wave, a little good job, Michael, don't give up, Julian, and these kind of things. That's what the athletes want. Yes, they want the perks and these things, but they want to feel that St. Lucia appreciates them for what they have accomplished for us.
Thank you very much. He's Coach Kenvin McPhee, the man who made it happen. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us on a Wednesday night.
Yes.
And of course, I want to thank the guys in the back row for making it happen, the Night Riders. Yes. Gentlemen, thank you.
Yes,
thank you
yes,
so
yes.
much.
Thank you.
We do this thing every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. We're out.